Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I just want to remind everybody, so this is meeting number 11 of the Government Management Committee. I want to welcome everybody. For those of you with us, there's a screen at the back of the room, and you can also follow the real-time updates on www.toronto.ca/council. Are there any declarations of interest under the Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, can I have a motion to confirm the minutes of February 22nd, 2016? Councillor Grimes moving. All in favor? Carried. We'll go through the agenda. The first item, 11.1, is an apportionment of property taxes. It's scheduled for 9:45. Number 2 is also for 9:45, cancellation, reduction, or refund of property taxes as of April 4th, 2016. Number 3, status update on improving controls over property tax assessments and payment in lieu of taxes. Councillor Grimes is moving receipt. All in favor? Carried. Number 4, largest property tax debtors with tax arrears greater than $500,000 as of December 31st, 2015. Councillor Grimes is moving receipt. All in favor? Carried. 11.5, parking ticket activity for 2015. All in favor? Carried. Number 6, Toronto Police Service Annual Report, Parking Enforcement Unit 2015 parking ticket issuance. Anybody else? Councillor Grimes, all in favor? Carried. Number 11, there's one deputant. Number 8, extension of contract number. There's a deputant. Number 8, extension of contract number 47016678 and 47016758 for goods and services for various office moves and office asset warehousing and management. Councillor Grimes is moving the recommendations. All in favor? Carried. Number 9, amendment to purchase order number 6038948 for the construction of a new fire station at 325 Chaplain Crescent. While you drink from your Toronto Fire Services coffee mug. All in favor? All in favor? Carried. Number 10. Use of the Province of Ontario's vendor of record for car share services. Councillor McConnell's moving. All in favor? Carried. Number 11, below market rent renewal lease agreement with Franklin Carmichael Art Group at 34 Riverdale Drive. All in favor? Carried. It's removed by Councillor Nunziata. Number 12, below market rent renewal lease agreement with the Scarborough Historical Society at 6282 Kingston Road. Councillor Grimes, all in favor? Carried. And we'll go back to item number 7. Mr. Miroslav Glavich. Is Mr. Glavich here? I don't see Mr. Glavich anywhere. Do you have ID, sir? You have 5 minutes to begin whenever you're ready.
All right. This survey, I'm going to assume you all read the report. The survey only mentions about City Hall staff. There's a lot of non-City Hall staff that come here. If anybody is smart enough, they don't go to the food truck with the garbage, hot dogs and hamburgers. The Hero Burger is better, it's organic, you know. What they had in the cafeteria downstairs, it was the standard cafeteria that you find in most government buildings, unhealthy. And I noticed over the years, most city staff, including the chair of this committee, goes to the Eaton Center to eat. You got your jiggle juice there. I seen you there. And I don't know if any of you remember, there was a festival called Caravana. Any of you remember that? When you used to go in different pavilions of different foods. There's more, we live in a multicultural city. There's more to to food and hamburgers and hot dogs and all that fried crap. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what I feel. And staff may want some fast food. First of all, that's unhealthy. Some of the City of Toronto staff have very horrible food habits. They should eat healthier. All good for us. And what about the people that come here when they go skating here and they don't want the Hero Burger? You know, I go eat downstairs instead of going to the trucks down there. There should be like a mini little United Nations thing, you know? There's a restaurant in Etobicoke, I think it's in Councillor Grimes' area. They changed the menu every day, not just hamburgers and, you know? I can't remember if it's in his ward or the other Etobicoke Lecture Council, I can't remember his name. There should be more option also, not just fast foods. Where is it? Close. And yes, competition is high because most of you have gone all the way to Eaton Center. But there should be more options than just fast food. As we all know, fast food is horrible. It's like all the, you know. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Glavich. Any questions of the deputant? Mr. Glavich, so you're okay with the format, though, of having a food court with, I believe one of the specifications was fast casual food, freshly prepared. You're okay with that concept?
Yes and no. I know staff, when you have your meetings, you go there for like 5 minutes and rush, but when I'm sitting here waiting for lunch for the committee to come back, you know, or when people are waiting for their permit or whatever, they're going to stay for an hour, or, you know, sometimes it takes 3 hours to get a simple permit.
Okay,
yes,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in this morning. Any other questions of the deputant? Seeing none, questions of staff? So, Councillor Davis, good morning.
Morning, sorry. We should plow the sidewalks everywhere. Yes,
We do in Scarborough.
I know you have plowed sidewalks in Scarborough, just poke it. The concept that is being suggested as, I believe, sort of the emerging consensus from the group. First of all, how was that group selected?
The group was selected through, I'll say, consultation with the area councillor. It also was selected in terms of us contacting different organizations that have expertise in food services, such as George Brown. So we consulted with the committee here to see if there was anyone that they thought would have, I'll say, the expertise in the area. So we consulted educational groups, we consult educational organizations, we consulted with area businesses, that type of thing, to pick the people who might be able to give us advice. We had originally asked for a food consultant to help us, and the committee said, don't get a food consultant, go and talk to the community.
And one of the, when I was looking at the sample that was given of some market in New York, and trying to understand this concept, it occurred to me that we would lose a lot of seating if we were to use that kind of a model downstairs. So I'm wondering, are we looking at that question, and have we determined whether or not and how much seating we require?
Yes, I think what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at the proposals that come in. It's going to be an iterative process whereby we would narrow down the proposals that we're interested in. Obviously, we would come back to the committee to say what our proposals might be.
But wouldn't the proponents want to know, in order to prepare a business plan, how much seating they would require?
That's up to them to propose what they think the seating would be the seating that would be required for their operation.
Let me
And
try
then we
again.
would assess that.
Do we know what seating we require and want?
I'll say we know what seating we have right now.
How much is
and
that, by
we
the
kn-
way?
Sorry?
How much is that, by the way?
Hmm.
Because I know in the summertime, it always feels there's not enough seating outside. Inside, some days it's packed. I don't know whether there's enough
Right.
seating. Have we,
So some of the comments that we've had from the existing tenant there now, Cafe on the Square, are that staff meet in the cafe. So it's not just about eating, it's about sitting
Right.
and having meetings there.
that's why I'm asking, have we assessed the demand for seating and in the current space and what we think the needs are for seating?
No, we have not assessed the seating demand.
Okay.
So we're expecting that the proponents will come in and tell us for their operation what they might need. And then we'd have to, I'll say, cross-check that with what we feel the city needs in terms of staff being able to use the space also. Because right now, everyone knows how that location operates. People will go in, they'll sit down, have an impromptu meeting while they're having lunch, that type of thing. So the time that people spend at a table down there is a lot longer than, I'll say, someone just going to grab a sandwich and.
There's also a lot of people who use it who go to the courthouse and other places around City Hall. So I think it would be useful to assess the current seating and usage, so we understand.
Okay, so we'll try to determine how we would, I'll say, assess how much seating we need down there.
Great.
There'll probably be a number related to the bylaw, and then maybe there's other information that we can gather that would educate us on that matter.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor McConnell, you have questions?
Oh, new buttons. Yeah, thank you very much. And by the way, I understand that Councillor DeCiano had his baby, little baby boy, Anthony? Yes, so that's lovely. Good, good, good. Well, I shouldn't say he, I guess his wife, right?
Mark, we have to do something tomorrow.
First of all, with regards to the group of people that were put together, and, you know, they had a broad expertise both in the Restaurant Association, which is where Barbarians came from, actually, Councillor, and also someone who designs restaurants came from there as well. But did you have enough, in your view, of people who had dealt with social procurement like CAMH or any of those other folks?
I'll say yes, we had a number of the organizations talk about social, I'll call it enterprise.
Yes.
And they,
Sorry, I didn't mean procurement, I meant enterprise.
yes, and the comments there were that potentially with more than one operator, there's actually more room to deal with a social enterprise. So you could have 2 or 3 organizations that were dealing for profit, which might allow for a not-for-profit or a social enterprise business to also be supported at the location.
So that was my second question. I think you've answered it. So this model that you're suggesting as you move forward, so the group will stay in place and advise us when we get to the sort of the final stretches. The social enterprise will be embedded as part of this. Is that correct?
We'll be asking for the social enterprise component, and then we'll see what comes back
Yes.
through the proposals, yes.
Right. And I'm assuming that some of the social enterprises that we talked to you about are aware and in the loop on this, Hawthorne,
Yes.
Box, those, I don't mean as companies, but I mean as organizations, okay.
Right, in terms of our request for proposals, we would be asking not only to the general restaurateur businesses to make application, but we would also be directly going to people that we know may be interested from the past conversations we've already had.
Right. And I saw that Trinity Square Cafe was on that list, so I was
That's correct.
quite pleased with that. And in terms of the outside seating, so one of the problems with the outside seating was that that patio was attached to the restaurant downstairs. And so if you were just eating your lunch or whatever, or you'd bought something from somewhere else, you weren't allowed to sit in that patio. Have you thought about sort of a more open space for outside, given this new model?
No, we haven't thought of separating the two at this point. I don't necessarily understand all the implications that might have.
Yes.
Because it may be a driving factor for the business in, I'll say, the 3 seasons of the year.
Right.
Outside of winter.
Yes, and so I guess what I was suggesting was not that we limit, no, I was suggesting that actually that we make the patio bigger and maybe, or put more tables around the patio so that people are able to mix and mingle around that. I think, when do you think that this will finally get resolved? Like, when are you expecting that we will have?
Well,
And then I'm done.
if committee basically has no issues with the report today, this is here for your information to make sure we're on the right track.
Yes,
With respect to what the committee asked us to do last time around. What we'll be doing is we'll be going out to the market now, early spring,
yes?
to see what we can garner in terms of interest, and then we would be coming back to you by the summer with the proposals.
Okay, thank you very much. That was my question.
Councillor Nunziata, questions?
Yeah, actually, one of the questions was what Councilor McConnell asked as well, as far as the seating. Possible that we can expand, even not even expanding the patio, maybe putting out more tables out in the square.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, you know,
Oh, yes.
it doesn't have to be part of the restaurant. It could just be more tables and chairs that people could get something and go outside in the square.
So we can take that input
Yeah.
and put it directly into our request for proposals that people will look at it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just a question, so 620 people responded to the survey?
Yes.
So when you say people, employees, or who responded?
That was an employee survey, yes. So it was
Oh, so
trying to
just
get an idea
employees.
of employees at City Hall, what they are doing,
Oh,
what they like to do, that kind of thing.
oh,
Not
okay.
taking long enough lunch breaks.
So,
No comment.
so
Lunch breaks?
They're not taking long enough lunch breaks.
don't know about lunch
30 to
breaks.
40, it's in the
But-
report.
but why do we just survey people, employees, not outside, like people that come from outside that use the,
That survey was.
like Councilor Davis mentioned, the people from the courts that, you know?
Right, that survey was just to get an idea of what the employees wanted to see or what their normal habits are.
Oh,
So with respect to, I'll say, demand for services here at City Hall,
Yeah.
we think that the private sector is going to be able to tell us better than a survey might tell
Yeah,
us.
yeah. So the next steps is that this will be made available to the public the first week of May, right?
Yes?
And then it comes back.
Then it comes back, so we would bring the proposals back to committee to say, we've evaluated the proposals, and these are the ones that we think would have merit, and we would ask you, I'll say, to take a look and either, I'll say, agree with our proposal to move forward with 2 or 3 of the proponents, because it would become a negotiation at that point. It'd become a real estate negotiation. Okay, so that's how I see that happening. It's the same as we did on a larger scale with Osmington down at Union Station, whereby we narrowed down 5 or 6 proponents down to 2 at the end of the day and presented something to council at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Joe, in the RFP, are we pursuing any companies out there? Are we going to make sure they know about what's happening?
Yes, we would be directly pursuing companies also.
When it comes back, I mean, let's say, one comes to the other, it's just not necessarily the best price who's paying the most. It's going to be food, variety, everything, right?
That's
And price
correct.
point and,
So we're going to try to, I'll say, rank them based on a bunch of different criteria in terms of, let's say, actually, we have the criteria here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so if you look at Appendix A, just the headings, subsection 2, there'll be a respondent profile, which would be a summary of who they are, what they do, the social enterprise elements that they want to bring forward in their business, corporate history with parent subsidiary companies and affiliates so that we know who we're dealing with, proof of financial viability. We would be looking for audited financial statements, and for privately held companies, we'd want their financial institution to give us information about their viability. Then subsection 3 would be experience and qualifications. Subsection 4 would be the proposed staff team, because we think that's very important as to customer service and who you have dealing directly with the customer. We also have, at the end, we want a written description of the proposed food service operation, how this might affect heritage impacts on the building, what their marketing plan is, the target clientele, and the types of marketing mediums that they might use to boost the business. Because right now, we've had problems with, I'll say, the existing tenants saying they can't generate enough cash from the
is there anything here about technology?
In what ways?
I was in New York yesterday, in Greece, New York. I went to Panera, and as you came in the door, they had screens where you just go touch-tone screen, you could order without even talking to the cashier.
Yes.
And they had like 5 kiosks, just little size of pad, put in your order. It was quite, the restaurant just kind of moved. I was quite impressed by it yesterday. I just
Right.
wonder if we had something like that, could be, where the coffee station, our people come in. I think it'd be fabulous.
I hadn't necessarily thought of it in that detail, but yes, we could.
So I mean, I'm not going
comments
to
like
emotionally,
that.
just maybe think about that, look at Panera's model they have. I don't know if they have it here, but it was,
Yes,
that would
absolutely.
be, I think, then if people could order from their desk, would be even better, right? Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Actually, I have 2. So there's nothing that speaks to the type of food we're looking for in here. This is just to pre-qualify?
That's
Then
right.
they're going to put in? but
That's
how are we
right.
gonna-
We're not trying to limit the food service at all. We want people to come, we want it as broad as possible to begin with, so that we will attract the most attention at that point, and then we try to narrow it down.
Because we
So,
talked about fresh, healthy, all of that. That will be somewhere at some
yes,
point.
absolutely, yes.
Okay. And if you envision a multi-kiosk kind of model, or I don't know how to describe it, a marketplace approach, you're looking for somebody that would be the head, the organization that would then sublet these various,
It may or may not work that way. We're not sure how it'll
Okay.
come out. It may be 4 or 5 small businesses that we're working with, and we'd have individual agreements with each of those. Or it may be one entity that would take care of 4 or 5 different small businesses.
but those 4 businesses would all have to cooperate around the,
That's right.
so are you expecting joint proposals, or?
No, we as a landlord could dictate how they would have to act with each other.
Wow, okay.
So I personally would prefer one entity
One, I
that
was about
works
to
after
say, I would
3 or
assume
4.
you'd want one.
Yeah.
who would subcontract with others, and we're responsible for the overall provision. Okay, thank you.
First of all, thank you for the staff, because I know this has been a lot of extra work. I'm really pleased that we went out into kind of the George Brown as well as the business restaurants like Barbarians, but also because they've done a lot of work around changing their business model to include takeout sandwiches and so on, which is very innovative. And certainly the person who came along with them, Bob Berman, has done a lot of this kind of work right across the city and is an expert in terms of the Restaurant Association work. But I'm really happy also that we've branched out and got some other executive chefs, because I think at the end of the day, the thing that we don't have is that kind of expertise. So I think that underlying this for me is opportunities for employment for our people, particularly a social enterprise model, which would, I believe, really help. And my experience in Regent Park and in St. Lawrence, 60 Richmond, and I've heard about others in and around CAMH and so on, have been really very, very, very successful. I know that Edmonton, for example, runs their restaurant in their city hall totally as a social enterprise. Their target is young people, and as a result of that, they've been able to train a lot of young people who then have gone out on their own into the restaurant industry. I mean, because tourism is so big in our city, and because we are so multiracial and multicultural, our restaurant business is huge, and our experience is huge. So I'm very pleased that we've been able to tap onto this. And I really look forward to something that is a little more reflective of our city, and something that we can actually be quite proud of. I know that in Union Station, they've kind of taken up that idea of the best of Toronto in their model for the smaller kiosks, which they have done, or which they are doing. I think this is a bit small for that, but I think the notion that when people come here, that what they get feels good and doesn't feel like you just, paid a lot of money for something that's kind of old and tired, I think is a really, so I would hope that Nathan Phillips Square has the opportunity really to be vibrant and used, and the more people that we can get to bring to the City Hall, the more people, I think, that feel good about their city. So whether that's tourists or whether it's people from inside the city, I just think it's really an important gathering place. So this is an important component of it, and I think we've got a little further down the road, and I want to thank staff for the work that they've done. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Other speakers? No. Councillor McConnell's moving the recommendations. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn.
We have 2 items left.
Oh, sorry. I was getting ahead of myself. I was like, that seemed too easy. These should be quick. So I have a motion on, sorry, is there anybody here that would like to speak to item number 1, which is the apportionment of property taxes for April 4th, 2015? Is there anybody here that would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I have a motion, an amendment that I would like to move to recommendation number 1. It's on the screen. Anybody have any questions? All in favor of the amendment? Carried. All in favor of the item? Carried. And number 2? Okay. Number 2 is 11.2, cancellation, reduction, refund of property taxes for April 4th, 2016. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, and I have an amendment to this item as well. Okay. So my amendment is to Section 323 in Appendix A. It's recommended that recommendation number 1 of the report dated March 16, 2016 from the treasurer be deleted and replaced with the following. Government Management Committee approve the individual tax appeal. Oh, sorry, motion on the screen now. Thank you, Lee. Do I still have to read it? Okay. All in favor of the amendment? All in favor of the item as amended? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Grimes, you have a motion for the bills?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that the Government Management Committee pass and declare as a bylaw a confirmatory bill to confirm the legislative proceedings of the Government Management Committee acting under delegated authority at its meeting held on April the 4th, 2016.
All in favor? Carried. Now, can I say it? Motion to adjourn. Councillor Grimes, all in favor?
Good job,
Carried.
Paul.
Thank you, everyone. Swap you for that one, minutes. There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.